Hi mommies and daddies, welcome back to MomComIndia. In this video, we will be talking about ways through which you can stop breastfeeding your baby, what is the right age to stop breastfeeding, and what are some important guidelines that every mother should keep in mind or should be prepared of before getting into this process. So let's get started. अगर आप एक हिंदी व्यूअर हो तो इस टॉपिक का हिंदी वर्जन हमारे चैनल पे कल पोस्ट हो चुका है. So I am a mother of a 21-month-old boy. I stopped breastfeeding my son when he was 1 year, and the entire process of stopping breastfeeding was quite easy for me, and I will tell you the details why. But basically there are two ways in which you can stop breastfeeding. One is baby-led weaning and the other is mother-led weaning. I fall in the category of baby-led weaning, and that's why it was easy for me. But before we get into the ways of stopping breastfeeding, I would like to talk about some guidelines which are very important for a mother who's wanting to initiate this process with her child, because these are things that you must keep in mind, you must be prepared for, and you must have solutions for. Number one guideline is that there is no right or wrong process when it comes to stopping breastfeeding your child. When you talk to different mothers, every mother's experience could be different. So whatever works for you, take as many tricks, as many practices as you can from so many mothers out there. But whatever works for you is just best. So just go ahead with it. Second guideline is about the right age to stop breastfeeding. Ideally, the age depends on a mother's choice, but if you read the guidelines, they say that till 6 months breastfeeding is a must. 1 year breastfeeding is good. 1.5 to 2 years breastfeeding is okay, but you should ideally not go beyond that. After 1 year, your child can be on a complete solid plan. So there are various fruits, vegetables, non-veg, there's basically so much out there to give your child a rich and a balanced diet. The dependency on milk slowly and gradually should come down, though they should be taking some amount of milk on a daily basis even after 1 year of age. So while the guideline is 1 year is the right age to stop breastfeeding, but I would say that it is a personal choice and it depends from one mother to the other. The only drawback with extending this timeline is that the older that your child grows, the more aware and more conscious the child becomes of the environment. So some children find a lot of comfort in breastfeeding and they do not want to leave breastfeeding. It becomes very, very difficult for mothers who just extend it because of giving comfort to their children. Always remember that you are not doing this to harm your baby. You are only doing this for the benefit of your baby so that he can take the benefit of various sources of nutrition out there. Third guideline is stopping breastfeeding is not only a physical change for you and your child, it is also a mental change. Both of you will go through a lot of emotional changes within yourself. So make sure that you as a mother are determined to go ahead with this process whenever you decide to start. You may decide to start at 1 year, 1.5 year, 2 year, but whenever the start happens, don't stop until you complete the process, because it's a lot of emotional change also. Also, your family must be aware of what you are going to do and should be supportive of you in this process. Otherwise, what will happen that when the child will cry a lot, when the child will be irritated and frustrated because of this entire change, not getting the breastfeed which he was so used to, your family might put a lot of pressure on you to just go ahead and feed the child so that the child becomes quiet, or may come back and curse you also, that what kind of a mother are you and stuff like that happens in our society. So make sure that they understand as to why it's important to stop breastfeeding when the time is right. The fourth guideline is that don't start the process of stopping breastfeeding when you or your child are going through a major event in your lives. So basically, if you are going through something which disturbs you a lot, or you're under a lot of stress, maybe it could be work, maybe it could be family, it could be you could be under a lot of pressure mentally, don't do this process at this time, because you will break down. And when you break down and you go back on this process, it won't be right for you and your child. Similarly, After 1 year, your child is also going through a lot of major development like walking, like a lot of teeth coming out, especially the teeth which are harder to come out. The child learns to speak, the child is becoming more aware of the environment. So there's a lot of development happening. So in that development phase, the child needs more comfort. If you try to stop breastfeed at that time, the child is bound to resist the entire change and will not adapt to it easily. So make sure that you're not doing it whenever there is a major development happening. Fifth guideline is that prepare in advance for the alternate. Now, when you stop breastfeeding your child, you also will have to continue to give milk to your child. What milk will you give and how will you give it are the two things that you need to start thinking and start planning for. Ideally, what parents do is that they start introducing bottle quite early on so that the child becomes familiar to bottle and it is easy to switch from breastfeed to bottle feed completely. Or a lot of parents also introduce fancy animated sippy cups as soon as they start solids so that the child gets used to the concept of drinking through a sippy cup, and that's also how a child becomes familiar with an alternate option apart from breastfeed. Sixth and the last guideline, which is important for you as a mother, is that with stopping breastfeeding, also be ready to managing breast engorgement. Now suddenly when you stop breastfeeding, your breast continues to make milk, right, because of the whole demand and supply that it was understanding till this point of time. So your breast will continue to make milk, because of which the milk will get clogged. There can be issues like too much pain, swelling, there could be engorgement in the breast, you may feel chill, you may also have a fever. I've done a separate video on this topic as how to handle this and what are the solutions to this when it comes to home remedies or consulting a doctor. Make sure you watch that video. But this is gonna happen. It takes 7 to 10 days to dry up the milk completely. And in those 7 to 10 days, you can face quite a lot of problems. So make sure you know the solutions that you need to do to take care of this problem. So those were the guidelines. I thought it is very important to prepare for what's coming your way. And that's why I said these ground rules or these expectations to make the whole understanding of the process easier. Now quickly, let's talk about the 2 ways that you've been waiting for to stop breastfeeding. The first is baby-led weaning. This basically means that your baby is giving you indication that he wants to be off breast or he's okay to be off breast now, and this will happen typically in 3 scenarios. Scenario number 1, by 1 year your child is on a complete meal plan, is enjoying solids, different flavors, different textures, different foods. So he's so interested in the whole solid eating that he's very less interested in breastfeeding. He will show less interest by getting off breast quite quickly compared to feeding 15 minutes earlier. Now he's feeding only 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, or just trying to avoid the whole breastfeed, not even getting close to the area where you guys typically breastfeed. So these are good signs that the child wants to leave the breast. Number 2, the child is more interested in activities. After 1 year, typically children start to walk, they just want to roam around, they want to be active, they want to be playful. They don't have time to sit and breastfeed and go through that entire process. Again, they will give you signs that they just want to be off. Capture those signs, let them go off so that they gradually leave the breast. Give them snacks, give them proper meals so that their tummy is also full and they don't suffer on nutrition, but they leave the breast. The third scenario is when the child already is familiar with bottle or sippy cups. If your child is already familiar with that, they know that they are faster, they are more convenient, and they will not have a problem switching. Now this is the way that actually worked for me. In my case, all 3 scenarios happened. So by the time my child was 1 year, he was on a complete solid plan. We were giving him everything. He was very active. He was moving around. He started walking when he was 13 months, but he was very actively wanting to walk, crawl everywhere. And also when he was 2 months old, I had introduced a bottle feed to him, which we only used to do in the night. So I used to pump my breast milk and give him through bottle, and then later on we introduced a couple of feeds of formula also. So that way my child was familiar with bottle also. So the night feeds was never a problem because he was already on bottle. The day feeds, slowly and gradually we worked out by capturing his being off the breast and letting him go. Also, whenever he used to breastfeed, what I used to do is distract him. So he would breastfeed for a few minutes and then I would try to reduce the feed time by engaging with him, by playing with him, by making stories that the breast is not good anymore, by making him laugh, making him giggle, so that he forgets that he had come to me for breastfeed and gets into that play mode. So all of these tricks will work if you try and distract your child off the breast when your child is already giving you indication. So that's the easy way. Now let's talk about the difficult way, which is mother-led weaning. Now mother-led weaning means that the child is not ready to leave the breast, the child is still comfortable with the breast, but you think that it is the right time for the child to leave the breast. What will you do? There are two solutions to this problem. One is a slow and gradual change, where slowly and gradually you will take your child off the breast. The second is a forced weaning process, where you take a cold turkey method and you immediately cut the breastfeeding process. Let's talk about the first one, which is the slow and gradual change. The first tip here is start skipping the least favorite feed. So assume that your child is feeding during the day and feeding also during the night. Whatever feed during the day your child is least interested in, because it's playtime, it's park time, or the child just wants to go out, there's so much happening, start cutting that feed. That will be the easiest feed to cut, and the way to cut it is by distracting the child, by engaging with the child, by doing something that the child is not expecting at that point of time, dancing, taking the child to the park, getting some family members involved, doing something so that the child's mind goes off the breastfeed, and giving him some nice snacks, some of his favorite food, so that his tummy also gets full. Some hard work, but it will definitely work. The second is reduce feed time. So earlier, if you were feeding your child for 15 minutes, like I said, during this activity, start engaging with your child, start making funny faces, funny stories, pick up a book and start reading, start doing something that your child will get distracted, and that 15-minute will get cut to say a 5-minute. Slowly and gradually your child will start leaving the breast, because as it is, he's not spending more time on the breast. Third is introduction of animated sippy cups or bottles. I've already spoken about this. After 1 year, you also start giving your child screen time. So you start getting an understanding of what are his favorite characters. Try to get cups of those characters, like say a Mickey, say a Minnie, or Spider-Man. And your child will be fascinated to drink in those cups and will want to have the milk or any kind of liquids in that over the breast. So it will be easier for you to let him quit. Lastly, plan for distractions, especially the night distractions. Daytime, you'll be able to distract the child with the help of family, with the help of park, music, dance, basically so many activities. But nights is where it's going to be really tough. You don't want to feed your baby, but your baby wants feed in the night, as it is asleep, is not understanding what's happening, what to do. So a couple of things that can be done. Number one, get your partner involved. Whenever the child wakes up in the night, let your partner pick up the baby, let your partner rock the baby, so that most likely the baby will go back to sleep as part of that rocking. Or offer water. After 1 year, the child has been having solids throughout the day, so they are bound to feel thirsty also, and we might get confused that the child is getting up for milk. So it could just be a water thirst. Offer water through a bottle and maybe the child will go back to sleep. Number 3, if the child needs milk, then also offer milk through a bottle in the night. The child will not even know what the child is drinking, but what you need to ensure is that the nipple size of the bottle is correct. Typically, that's where we go wrong. The child has to make extra effort to suck the milk compared to what he's doing on the breast, and that's where the child gets awake and thinks that, this is not what I'm comfortable with. So a good thing to do is, and again, this will require effort for a few days, that typically as a mother, that my child wakes up every 4 hours for a milk feed. So at a 3-hour 45-minute, get up, make the bottle ready and just wait for your child to get up. As soon as your child wakes up, he shows signs of waking up, is moving around, put the bottle in the child's mouth. The child will just suck on it, have the milk and will go back to sleep. This is a way that works for a lot of mothers. So you can definitely try that. So these were my tips on how a mother can work towards slowly and gradually taking the child off breast. Now let's talk about the second method, which is more complex, which is just cold turkey or forced weaning. This is the process where you just cut the breastfeeding process. There are two ways that you can do it. The first tip is you apply something on your nipple which has a very foul smell that can completely turn off the child, and the child will feel that this is not my mom's smell. Something like a garlic, something like aloe vera juice or a karele ka juice. There are different things that you can try. So something like that you apply that can turn off the child. And then since they are at a certain age where they are very interested in stories, you can make a whole story out of it, that something happened because of which mama's nipple got an injury, and doctor auntie had applied this, and now this is going to stay, so what do we do? So let's have milk through this. You can always create whatever story you'd like to that can be engaging to your child, and eventually your child will get off the breast. The second way, which is very, very hard, and I don't know who does it work for and how does it work, it gives me immense pain to even talk about it, is that let the child cry it out. Let them cry. They want breast. You are not there to give them the breast. Just get out of the room, even if it is night or it is day, and don't be available. Don't be there in front of the child. Let them cry, cry, cry. Eventually, either they will have milk through the alternate option, or they will get something to eat from whoever the caregiver is. It could be a snack, it could be a meal, or they will have water, or they will just fall back to sleep by crying, crying and crying. That's the way it works. Typically, experts say that it takes 3 to 5 days for the child to go through this process and eventually understand that this is not happening and he needs to give it up. So that's the only way. But like I said, you have to put a hard rock on your heart to do something like that. So if you are prepared for it, you have tried everything else in the world, nothing is working out, only then this is the way to go. So you may want to go with it. So these were my tips on how to stop breastfeeding your child. A lot of people have been requesting me to do this video, but I was not doing it for some time because I wanted to do my research right on this topic. Because like I said, for me it is very easy, but I read messages from so many worried mothers for whom it's not so easy. They are finding it really difficult. So I wanted to make sure that I read all the experience that is out there. I talk to a lot of people who've gone through this process and bring to you what's working for them. Apart from this, if you have something that's worked for you, that has worked for your friends, please put it in the comment section below so that our community can read it and they can also get help. That will be very kind of you. If you did find this video helpful, please click on the like button. If you do find our work to be helpful, please subscribe to our channel. There's a red button and there's a bell icon, hitting which will ensure you get timely notification of our videos. Thank you for loving us. Thank you for encouraging us. Thank you for believing in MomCom India.